Since I have had personal experience with corporal punishment, I would not allow it to be used on my own children at school. This was a painful, humiliating experience, and today I want to persuade you to ban corporal punishment on our young children in our schools and using instruments on children which may lead to juvenile delinquency. Young children are the most vulnerable at receiving discipline by corporal punishment. An example of this is Adrian Peterson, who is an NFL player. He used a switch, a part of a tree, to whip his 4-year-old son. Adrian had previously been accused of child abuse on one of his other children. A corporal punishment is more prevalent against young children. Researchers at the University of New Hampshire had done surveys and determined that 90% of parents of 3- and 4-year-olds had struck their children, and 22% had of parents with children under 1 year of age had also hit them. A baby only knows what it can see or hear or what it has been taught. So what offense could a child this young do to warrant being hit by an adult? We need to raise our children with positive measures. Otherwise, we are teaching our children to lie to escape corporal punishment. In the United States, corporal punishment is still being used, and there are only a few states that have banned it. Let's see, what else was I going to do? Okay, the students are threatened with a trip to the principal's office and for discipline, and many teachers believe that the fear of corporal punishment will change a student's behavior. When I was in 1st grade at 5 years old, I was given corporal punishment because I didn't do my work first. I always colored. So I was led out into the hall by the teacher, and students were walking by, and I was hit with the paddle, and I cried and was humiliated. And because I received punishment at school, I also received a spanking at home. My parents and my teacher felt like I had learned my lesson, and I felt like I had became more afraid of my teacher and other adults. None of my peers let me forget that I had received corporal punishment as a 1st grader. Corporal punishment used with instruments is passed on from generation to generation. I have heard people say, well, there's nothing wrong with me. I turned out just fine and I was hit with a belt, a switch. In a Jamaican study, reports found that 80% of mothers of preschool-aged children noted the use of instruments to beat their children. The main offenses were being disrespectful, disobedient, not eating all their food, not completing chores, and crying too much. None of these seem like major offenses that should warrant corporal punishment. Let's see. and so the child should not have to, oh, okay. So as a child, my friend had been hit with a folded Hot Wheel track. And this was painful and left bruises. When outside, the instrument of choice was the garden hose for corporal punishment. Now, as a society, we will start to have an increase in juvenile delinquency. More children are being hit frequently, physically, and they will learn to be, accept that it is all right to hit, and that a study by a University of New Hampshire said that he found a link to juvenile delinquency because the kids started having low self-esteem, they were isolated, they had higher levels of rage and anger that all linked back to the use of corporal punishment. And so corporal punishment should not be condoned by society because it is unethical. So children should be raised with love, not punishment, and that they should not learn to be, they should not learn to have the pain and scars and anguish from the punishment. So corporal punishment needs to be banned for use on young children in our schools and not to be used with instruments on children, which may lead to juvenile delinquency. Thank you.